The lawsuit between Florida State and the ACC is heating up in a big way. There's new amendments, new accusations being thrown around, and all this is a ploy for Florida State to get out of this conference as soon and as cheaply as possible. For the ACC, I think they fully acknowledge that no matter what, Florida State is getting out. Now they want to make it as difficult and expensive as possible for them to do so. So let's talk about these new amendments. Now, a lot of people look at this situation and ask, well, why did Florida State sign this deal if it was so bad? That's on them. And in a way, you're correct. But that is allegedly, at least, not quite the case. Florida State came out with their latest claim, and a big reason why they feel that the ACC has breached contract and, in a way, misled them into signing the grant of rights extension. They really take aim at the whole Swafford family here, and this is a theory that we've seen on the message boards for quite some time now. But conspiracy no more, Florida State takes a major shot claiming quite a few things here. One of those things being nepotism. The claim is that John Swafford, who was a former commissioner of the ACC, struck the deal with Raycom Sports for Florida State's media rights and did so at a very favorable rate so Raycom Media could stay afloat, especially after the SEC cut Raycom out of their updated deal with ESPN. Now, why would he do that? Well, because his son, Chad Swafford, was an executive for Raycom at the time. Now, Florida State is even claiming that he's on record stating that keeping Raycom afloat is his priority, and almost seems like maintaining the integrity of the conference and doing right by its members was a back burner goal at best. Now, how true all this is debatable, but we should learn more as things head into discovery and further litigation. But you can only hear these kinds of theories and stories so many times before you have to wonder if it's actually true. It would certainly make sense of why such a lengthy deal was done for so cheap. The ACC is coming out now saying that Florida State has breached contract in multiple ways. For one, they're claiming that by doing this, by suing the conference and openly showing their intentions to leave and reasons why, they're claiming that Florida State has broken some kind of non-disclosure agreement. Now, Florida State is claiming that they never signed or even had an NDA. So that's something else that they'll have to kind of untangle in court. But it also sounds like they're saying that Florida State has breached contract just by suing the conference, which may sound kind of odd considering that the ACC's lawsuit against Florida State actually came first. Now, yes, of course, Florida State had a Board of Trustees meeting where they expressed interest in suing and agreed to do so. So in my opinion, and of course, again, I'm no lawyer, but it sounds to me like the ACC caught wind of Florida State's lawsuit and went on the offensive to launch their own, likely in hopes of getting some kind of home field advantage in court, which we'll talk about in a moment. But even with this information, Florida State is claiming that this is a fraudulent lawsuit from the ACC by saying that the conference didn't launch the suit even according to their own protocols. To sue a member, you need to gather all the other schools in the conference and get a 2/3 majority vote to sue. Now, this could have been done. It could have been done on a super hush-hush, but I wouldn't put this kind of thing past the ACC, especially at this point. So the ACC isn't wanting to not only go through litigation and establish that the grant of rights is not only enforceable, but now they also want to put Florida State on the hook for further monetary damages for breaching the contract and not maintaining disclosure here. So both sides are digging in pretty hard, and I wonder if at all we'll see them try to hit the negotiating table and try to figure this all out. The current buyout amount is, I believe, $572 million. Of course, Florida State wants to present an argument to get that number down to zero, which we know it won't be that, but the goal is to get it as close to that as possible. I'd say a settlement is possible and would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of around $200 million if I had to guess. Somewhere like in that middle range a little bit. And you best believe that Florida State has already got that money locked and loaded and ready to go if they can negotiate it that way. Now, if they can't find an agreement, this is going to be a pretty long and expensive legal war, and location is going to be a big, big deal here. The ACC is wanting to litigate this in Charlotte, where their headquarters are, but Florida State wants this case tried in Leon County, and that's a huge difference. And it's essentially like the whole home field advantage kind of deal. So we're going to have to see a pretty extensive process just to figure out a location to get after this thing in a courtroom finally. Now, one thing we know for sure is that this process is not going to be quite as quick as we initially might have thought. Like we said, both sides are digging in hard, and it may cause this thing to drag out pretty long, and it could get pretty ugly. But the bottom line is Florida State wants out. And all these amendments and all these theories and threats are just a means to an end. And it all combines to the point that Florida State is trying to prove that the ACC has not done right by its members and has shown a history or a pattern of not operating in the best interest of the schools that the conference maintains, which is an official breach of contract. Now, I think there's a ton of different ways you could make this case, such as proving the nepotism issue with Raycom Sports, thing we discussed, the ACC not giving a competitive enough platform, breaching contract by just straight up suing a member of your own conference. But the ACC, of course, isn't going down without a fight, especially because they know if they lose this lawsuit and Florida State finds their exit, not only will they be losing a ton of money, but it'll open the floodgates and just be the first step to essentially the whole conference dissolving. So we'll just have to wait and see what the next steps are and if they can negotiate this thing down at all. One thing is for sure, though, when it all happens, we'll definitely be here to share and talk about the news with you guys. So you definitely want to make sure you subscribe to the channel for updates and content on not only the ACC lawsuit and realignment talks, but we also handle recruiting and all other Florida State football news and things. We're on the way to our goal of 1,000 subscribers, so if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot. We appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll talk soon. Go Noles.